Alright, it's the next morning, and we're gonna go do a test drive of the Malibu through some curvy roads, and I'm gonna video it for you. Alright, so I set the shocks in the front to number 8 on the stiffness. I'm pretty sure it goes to 16. I had it on 12 and it was like really stiff and bouncy. And since the rears are stock shocks with different lowering springs, it wasn't the greatest. Also, they make very bad noises. I think the shock mounts are bad, and since they're leaking oil, you know, just makes weird noises. I turned them to 8 and let's head to the back road and see how it does. All right, here we go. Definitely handles way better. Okay, we're back home. It looks like it hit right here. See that rub mark? That was probably whenever I hit the drainage ditch at some speed and it bounced a lot. I think it might have rubbed there. Somewhere in here. Maybe down there, I don't know. That's the only mark I really see. Perfect timing, our tie rods just arrived, inner and outers. Now I'm going to go to AutoZone and get a spring compressor. So I can get these old springs off and put the new lowering springs on, because those coilovers aren't going to do it and it still needs to be low. And then maybe I'll eventually go and get new struts without the springs and then put the lowering springs in it, as well as new top thingies. These things, whatever they're called, I forget. That way it's 100% good, as well as rear shocks. So let's get to it. I only have 2 hours. So. All right, I got the spring compressor right here. There it is. And the tie rod tool. I'm not gonna film a lot of this because I have to get this done really fast, but I'll film parts and then the end result. So I have this side jacked up like that. This side's lifted a little bit. this side of the front, it's lifted a tiny bit more as well. And then we have this. It's tucked. That's so weird. Changing the suspension, first of all, the wheel doesn't sag all the way to the ground whenever it's up like this. Previously, it would still be touching the ground. Second of all, this wheel is off the ground with only the front jacked up. That's never happened. That's pretty cool. Right, here's the tie rod. I just held onto this with a wrench and then took this off with another wrench, and it's already out. Look at that. I didn't even do anything. That's awesome. So, that was easy. They're definitely no good. I'm pretty sure these might also be original. I mean, they're really not that bad, the looseness of them, compared to my trucks, but still not great. There's the inner tie rod. Let's take it out. Got the tie rod out. I used this fancy tool from AutoZone. It has, the rod goes in there, and then this clips in here like that, and this pinches down this, and it locks in so you can hook the wrench to the other side. Pretty cool. Got the new one in. It's already a ton more stiff. Now I have to get the boot back on. I don't know how I'm gonna get the clamp over there, but we'll see. And then put the new tie rod end on. Call it good. All right, this side is basically back together. Got the lowering spring in, the new tie rod's in. I just have to lower the other side so this sway bar end link can go back to where it's supposed to be. All right, don't mind the giant mess of tools, but got the tie rod in on this side, both ends. The old strut with the new spring in. Everything's all hooked back up. Up here, gotta torque all of this once it's on the floor. This side, same deal. Oops, never mind, I have to put that in. But everything else is all hooked up. Yep, all right. Let's throw it on the ground and see what height it's at. All right, it's back on the ground. Tire's all funny looking because it's all tweaked out because it was just up and down on the jack stands. I have an appointment at 11 for an alignment. I had to get up early just to get this done in time. And once that's done, we'll measure the ride height, see what it's at. It looks pretty good. It's at a nice height, not as low as with the coilovers, but it's even with the rear, which is good. I'm excited to see how it feels. Now the coilovers, they were cool. I like how it slammed. It would have been better if I put those rear springs so I get the same slam in the back, so it would have looked fully slammed, you know. They were super rough and stiff, and they were worn out, so they made a whole bunch of noises. Like every bump, it was like a clank, pop, bing bong, ding dong. I don't know. They just weren't the best. All right, I'll get back to you after the alignment. All right, here's the alignment sheet. This is before, this is after. So it looks like the rear was actually way out of whack. That's probably why it kept like swerving around the road randomly. Looks like I actually got the tie rods pretty close in the front. I don't know why that's like that. All right, let's drive it and see. All right, we're gonna do a little 0 to 60 here. If I put it in drive first. Okay, ready? The car is majorly heat soaked right now. I've been driving for 2, 3, maybe 4 hours straight. So yeah, but also higher altitude and going uphill. We could probably make that better with some better conditions. It's also 84 degrees outside and there's only 87 in it. But there you go. suspension. Gotta go real slow on these bumpy roads. I never really explained why I was getting the alignment so early, but basically I got the alignment and then drove straight to New Mexico to visit family. So I got in late last night, as you saw, and here are some photos of the drive. And then the next footage is going to be of going up a really cool curvy road in the mountains of New Mexico.
Boy, there's a lot of lumber fell down here. Dang. Hey, you don't want to take this to the burn area, do you?
No. our statue's still there.
I wanted to see it.
Yep, it's still there.
Good. there's a little water in the stream down there.